Biden is not running. And I think he did the smart thing because, frankly, I don't know that he would have won. He wouldn't have gotten the nomination. I don't think he probably would have. And, frankly, I really want to run against Hillary. I really do.
Man never met a microphone he didn't like, right? Joe Biden's taken his leave of the presidential fracas, a milestone passed by the Donald that has plenty of Republicans sweating bullets. Then there's this thing about putting a real socialist into the big chair inside the Beltway. Unlock the doors, loose this edition of the Political Animal. Right and tight, veteran Republican strategist Ford O'Connell, left and leaning veteran Democratic strategist J.D. Gins. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. And I'll tell you what, Ford, I'm going to start with you on this one. Donald Trump is nearing 100 days on top of the polls right now. Okay, wait, let's take a breath. Do we finally have to stop and say, yes, not only is he real, but you better look at the possibility of putting him in that chair next year? I mean, there's got to be something to this, Ford, that we're missing. It has that feel.
I have been saying for 2 months that there's a real possibility that Donald Trump could be the GOP nominee. Here's why he is. He's very good at basically talking about the issues that a lot of base voters care about, and frankly, he uses excellent psychological warfare. He basically says over and over, I'm leading in the polls, and over, I'm catching up to Hillary. So right now, he's playing the mainstream media like a fiddle, and it's working to Donald Trump's benefit.
All right, J.D., come to you on this one here, because this is a great story from today. There was a tweet that Donald Trump shared about a new poll released in Iowa. Here it is. Ben Carson is now leading in the polls in Iowa. Too much Monsanto in the corn creates issues in the brain. He retweeted this. Then it was deleted. Then he says, oh, it was a young intern who basically put this out. J.D., from the Democratic side, can you use this at all, or is this just something else that's part of the sideshow?
I think this is all still part of the sideshow, and I really do hope that the sideshow becomes the main event for the Republicans in the general election. It's hard to take Donald Trump seriously as president of the United States. But what Ford has said is right. He's absolutely doing a marvelous job appealing to a fringe segment of the Republican base, which just happens to be enough to keep him on top of the polls right now. I think you'll see more Republicans drop out and consolidate around a more viable choice outside of Donald Trump. But right now, it's still fun to watch.
Ford, regardless of what happens with Donald Trump, though, can they use anything whatsoever against Hillary Clinton from the Benghazi hearings? Understanding that there's a lot there that we're hearing a lot of the same things that we heard before.
Well, we are hearing a lot of the same things that we heard before, but one thing that did become clear is that she took part in a White House cover-up with respect to what happened. We saw this with the emails to the Libyan, the head of Libya, the head of Egypt, and even to her own daughter, that she knew while it was going on that it was not, in fact, caused by a spontaneous video. But, you know, that's a political talking point on the campaign trail. Hillary Clinton did not blow her top, and she has yet to basically perjure herself, so it was pretty much a good day for Hillary Clinton overall.
J.D., go ahead. I know that you're just salivating when you hear the words cover-up.
Well, you know, I think that it's clear that the Republican Party has very little ammunition against her, and they're trying to run a, committee hearing campaign against her. And I thought she looked presidential today. Thought she was calm. And I think people are tired of this. This was the eighth hearing, or the eighth committee on this.
Wait. People are tired of it. It was not the eighth hearing, so stop that. That's nonsense. It was not the eighth hearing. You guys have been stonewalling so long. We didn't have Stevens' emails. We didn't have Clinton's emails. And for you to say that is intellectually dishonest.
Well, wait a minute. How can it be intellectually dishonest,
Ford? You can see that the Republican Party is grappling here. They're just really going at straws, and they're just trying to make hay out of nothing.
Look, the bottom line is you've been stonewalling the entire time. You've been withholding documents. It's very hard to run an investigation without said documents. So you can continue to claim that it's 8 times and redundant, but it's really not. And that's the point. Hillary Clinton has been stonewalling the entire time, and she's been doing it because she understands her viability for president is at stake.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about Joe Biden here very briefly. I want to move on.
They're just trying to take her out.
Let's go ahead and talk Joe Biden here for a second, J.D. Isn't it fair to say that with all the talk about federal indictments and everything else, that it's just more plausible that Joe Biden simply, look, in a New Hampshire poll committed by the Boston Globe, he had only 11% support. Isn't it just very likely that he decided that he wasn't going to get the support he needed?
Well, I think that he's had a lifetime in public life, and he really wanted to be president, but I definitely think that he looked at what he would take to win, and he saw a long road. He saw a very difficult climb. He'd have to damage the nominee's the likely front runner in order to get there, and if he came up short, he'd hurt the party, damage his legacy. Right now, a lot of people in the Democratic Party are very grateful for his service. We're very grateful for the seasoned hand he was on Obama's ticket, and I think it's a good thing that he's stepping aside. I'm a little surprised he's doing it, but I think he made a calculated choice, and I think it was the right choice.
I'm not sure that he actually fully stepped aside. I will say that Wednesday was the best day in the Clinton campaign's career thus far. But, Joe Biden left the door open. In case something happens to Hillary, he's right there to be drafted. The great thing about Joe Biden is he's playing hard to get.
All right,
That's
gentlemen,
smart right now.
We're all out of time. I tell you what, though, when we come back, though, we didn't even get to Bernie Sanders and the avowed socialist part. Come on, an avowed socialist, Benghazi hearings, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Ben Carson. My God, men, we've got more than we need to talk about. We're just out of time, unfortunately. We got to come back and do it again. And by the way, it's excellent to get you guys both on here. J.D. Gins, Ford O'Connell, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again soon. Calling out the most dangerous presidential candidate making the rounds on the Republican side, who it is, and a warning about what's to come in Iowa. One-on-one with Senator Rand Paul when we come back right here on The Hard Line.